This one is on green cleaning's role in green facility designations. I'm here with Keith Schneringer. And Keith, please introduce or
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Keith Schneringer, Senior Director of Marketing for JanSan and Sustainability for BradyPLUS. We're a distributor of JanSan and facility care supplies, along with food service and industrial packaging.
great. I appreciate it. And I guess my first question for you is, can you explain green facility designation and the process and why cleaning is omitted and or changes? Yeah, I guess can you explain the process? Yeah.
Yeah, so as it relates to process and green cleaning and different certifications, you're going to have you're probably going to have like an array of certain things that might come up. You might be talking about LEED, you might be talking about well, you might be talking about fit well, you might be talking about UL verified, you might be talking about healthy green schools and colleges. There's a variety of different standards that are out there, but ultimately it all boils down to the same general principles for a cleaning operation. What sort of cleaning chemistry are you using? What sort of consumable products like paper and liners are you using? What sort of hand hygiene program do you have? And what sort of machines are you deploying in the facility? And so when we think about green cleaning, there's an aspect of it that's related to the types of products and the product certification and or attributes, and then how they're used.
Excellent. I that was succinct and full of detail. Exactly what we want in a response. And I guess this might be hard to identify perfectly, but are there any changes you see on the horizon? Because we know 1 year to the next, there's so much change when it comes to green cleaning. Is there things you foresee for sure, or
Yeah, so definitely one of the things that's happening, and I think that people are even speaking on it here at this show. LEED is introducing a new version 5. So I think that there's going to be some changes there. And for the cleaning industry, there'll be changes in the way that point totals are calculated, but there's also going to be more consideration given to the way that a lot more consideration to training and the way that the cleaning workers, the work environment that the cleaning workers are in. A lot more focus also on the impact that cleaning may or may not have as it relates to greenhouse gas emissions and supply chain. And then the other thing, the big thing that I see is an emphasis on indoor air quality and the role that cleaning plays in indoor air quality.
okay? And do you, in your estimation, what are the drivers for like these changes? Why not? Because right now there's so many things we could be doing better, right, in that space. But IAQ is something we hear a lot about on the show floor. But some of those other things, like why is it the end user wants this? Is it these companies want it, or yeah?
Yeah, so I think that there's a variety of stakeholders. So I guess if we unpack a couple of them, so if we look at indoor air quality first, I think one of the things that we've all experienced the pandemic, and then we've all experienced a lot of wildfires recently, and that's really shown a light on how poor the quality of our indoor air is. And I think as a cleaning industry, and we think about preventing pathogens, I think we understand the relationship between hand hygiene and pathogen control and surface cleaning and disinfecting. But I think air was a blind spot for us as an industry. We've kind of said like, well, that's HVAC's concern, the building engineer. But I think that these circumstances and these events have really shown a light on the role that cleaning can play on indoor air quality. We did a thing with a big school district in the Midwest. They are measuring the indoor air quality of their classrooms and particulate count. And they found that once they got outside of a certain bound, they would send the custodial crew in there. They would vacuum and dust. And they said 80% of the time that brought the particulate count back down to acceptable levels. So I think from an indoor air quality standpoint, those are some of the things that are driving it. For LEED version 5, we're on version 5 now. So they started off obviously with version 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so I think it's a combination of the marketplace and then also pushing. LEED is always trying to be a leadership standard. They're trying to be the top 20% of building stock in the country. And so they're pushing. So I think that's another driving force.
And you bring up an excellent point. I think I had read that thing about that school in the Midwest you all had worked with. Do you think that that's probably the case in the majority of school districts, both public and private universities, everything throughout the country? I mean, would that be a fair assumption?
So I think that they could get the similar result, but not every school district is measuring the indoor air quality. So this school district had invested in these monitors, and they're measuring 3, 4, 5 different KPIs, and one of them was particulate count, and so it's something that I think that schools could get the same results, but maybe they wouldn't know it because they're not measuring. But it is something that we are now, like, we know that vacuuming cleans the floor. But now we're being able to say, like, this is also something that the more you clean the floor, the less likely that particulate's bound to get airbound. Because if you got dirt on the floor, people walk across it. Now all of a sudden that stuff could potentially be airbound again.
Okay. And still on the topic of schools and IAQ, is another consideration students that might be, I guess, more susceptible, or they have more difficulty interacting with, dusty conditions, or we hear a lot about those that individuals that struggle with stronger fragrances and all that. And we've been hearing a lot of people saying, in some cases, the definition of clean is no scent at all, right? So, I mean, is that another consideration there, that there's children that might have asthma or something else, and that really wasn't thought of before?
100%. And I think that I'm a person of a certain age, I used that line this morning when we were talking. But I'm a person of a certain age, and I can remember that when I was growing up, people didn't have allergies. Like, or maybe we didn't know about it, but now it seems like there's a lot of people have allergies. A lot of people have asthma. I think it's estimated that 1 in 5 Americans suffer from allergies. So it's sort of like, you look to your left, you look to your right, and probably somebody here in this little group of people is suffering from allergies. And so when we think about our role as cleaners, is we take particulate matter that's in a place it shouldn't be, we collect it, and we take it someplace else. And so vacuum cleaners help to clean the air, microfiber. We've got air purifiers that can clean the air now. And when we look at fragrance, being mindful of the chemicals that we're using and the VOC content of those chemicals is important. And a lot of people are opting for not having fragrance. If we think about why do we have fragrance and cleaning chemicals in the first place, it's because the first cleaning chemicals that were made did a good job of cleaning, but they didn't smell good. So fragrance was added so that you didn't smell the bad part of what was making the product work. Now, as we're able to figure out and separate those things, we can have products that can have low or no VOCs, low or no fragrance, and then that way, that's one less trigger for folks that have asthma or their sort of respiratory irritation.
Okay, and we spoke about schools a fair amount here. What are some other settings you found that are, particularly susceptible to issues with IAQ?
Healthcare, period. Like, right. So healthcare. So we kind of think like, okay, yes, hospitals for sure. But I think that there's a whole slew of other, maybe not outpatient, but just healthcare adjacent. Like senior living facilities, I think is another place where people are concerned with indoor air quality and malodors. So I think allergens, pathogens, and malodors are 3 bogeys when we're looking at indoor air quality and how do we remove those from the air. But general buildings, like commercial real estate buildings, as people have gone home. Office buildings are saying, come back to work. And so they're trying to create, pleasant places for people to be able to hang out. And, but yeah, I think lots of places, I guess, in essence. But those are some of the ones that we hear most commonly.
All right. Yeah, I suppose that the number could be endless almost, but yeah. I appreciate you touching on that. I guess across any setting, then can you explain like green cleaning and why it is important practice? I guess again, regardless of setting, and regardless of whether or not it contributes to facility designations, because you should still be invested in it even if you're not vying for some designation.
Sure. Yeah, no, I agree. And so I think that this is something that came up, especially during the pandemic, because we were finding as distributors that a lot of our customers were interested in green cleaning. And then the pandemic came and people were saying, like, forget about green cleaning. I just want to disinfect everything. And our counsel was always, well, hold on a second. Green cleaning actually aligns very well with what you're trying to do. You're wanting to disinfect everything. Why? Well, I don't want anybody to get sick. Okay, well, green cleaning is taking this idea of cleaning and doing it in such a way that it protects health. And the reality is some of the ways that we clean, or some of the ways we were cleaning during the pandemic, were detrimental actually to health. We thought people were doing it with good intentions, but it actually was not necessarily the outcome that they were looking for. So I think that if we think about the basic reason why we clean, which is to protect health, green cleaning is a great vehicle for us as an industry to say this is cleaning that's just sensible cleaning that is reducing impacts on health while also reducing impacts on the environment. It's something that can be sustained over time. And these are all things that make sense, whether or not you want a certification or you don't want a certification. If we think of green cleaning, another way of looking at it is cleaning without being as wasteful. That's something that I think also resonates with some people.
That makes excellent sense, because holy disinfectant, like people were just going hog wild, using more than they had to, right? And do you find too that a great way to be more efficient and sustainable is to also just, I sound like a doofus even bringing it up, but just getting back to the fundamentals of there's a difference between cleaning, sanitizing, disinfecting. Just getting back to the fundamentals probably goes a long way as well too.
Yeah, you can't disinfect a dirty surface, so you want to make sure you're cleaning it first, and then you can disinfect it. And I think that one way of looking at this is in the 90s, there were a lot of management programs talking about total quality management, lean principles, Six Sigma, decreasing waste. And I think that green cleaning can fit into this topic of sustainability, and sustainability can fit into that topic of reducing waste. Waste might be you're using too much product, or you're doing something too many times, or you're causing this other bad outcome. And so I see green cleaning as just being sensible and trying to have whatever is the safest, most effective way of getting the cleaning result accomplished.
All right. And another question I'd have for you, it's no secret to anyone anywhere in this building that turnover isn't good for BSCs, for facility managers, anyone in the space. It's never good, but just right now it's a difficulty. Do you find that like instituting different green cleaning practices might be more difficult? Like, might there be pushback from a BSC saying, hey, it's already hard enough to train these guys when they're only here for a couple weeks? What would you say to that?
Yeah, great question. And yeah, I think that change is hard no matter what. Yeah. So you potentially could have like a green cleaning program and you're trying to convert out of it. that could be hard also for some of the people just they like what they like, and so sometimes changing is difficult. And sometimes though it's the old adage of what if I train my employees and then they leave. You might look at it a different way. What if you don't train your employees and they stay?
Yeah.
And they're not. They're doing everything wrong for
Right.
a longer amount of time. And so I think that there's no way to sugarcoat it. That change is difficult, and it takes management oversight, takes buy-in, it takes building coalitions and being very open and transparent with your workforce. But I think that ultimately, if it's approached in the spirit of collaboration, that I've seen it be more effective in those instances. And but yeah, it is something that any change is difficult.
Yeah, fair enough. So I guess let's say people reading up on green cleaning, not just the individuals here listening in, they're all of a sudden, I'm in. Like, you've convinced me, Keith. You've won me over. From there on, what would your recommendation for them to get started?
Yeah, so to get started is I would take a baseline of what you're doing currently. Frequently when we do that with customers, we find that they're already doing something that is green cleaning. They just weren't calling it that. Or so we like to not change for change's sake. So we do a baseline analysis, and then we say, hey, you're already doing this, this, and this. And based off of that, here's the feedback. If you would like, here's some areas that you could focus on to get the biggest amount of impact. And so instead of a laundry list of 25 things, here's 1, 2, 3 things that are going to have the biggest impact. That's going to make the biggest difference. Sometimes we can expend a lot of time and energy chasing 1% improvement when we could take the same time and energy and get more of like a 10 or 15% improvement. So I like to focus on the big things first, and then we can get to the other stuff as we build the momentum.
Excellent. And we've filled up about the questions I wanted to ask. So I guess, are there any points here I haven't touched on you think are worth approaching?
No, I think that you had
okay,
a very
so I did do my good. I did
you were
do
very
my
thorough
job.
on your questions.
Awesome. Anybody in the crowd have any questions?
So the question, and I don't know if everybody heard it. Did everybody hear it? Okay, yeah. So I think the question, if I can paraphrase, is you've been doing green cleaning for many years, but you don't have a certification necessary. The newer ones. Okay, but you do have some certifications then from years ago. Okay, so how would you be able to take that certification from years ago and use it to market your company? Is that the question? Yeah, so this is one man's opinion, that the most important opinion is whoever the customer is in front of you. So some customers are going to say, I need this certification, and they're going to be not budging on that. Other customers, you can say, here's what we have. They'll be like, that's perfect. I like that. Because not everybody needs every single certification. They just want to know, what does the certification represent? And ultimately, like when we talk about product certifications, just because a product is certified, right? That's not the part that makes it more sustainable. The part that makes it more sustainable is that it's got a reduced impact on human health and a reduced impact on the environment. All the certification has done is just quantified that somebody who evaluated this said, yes, this has reduced impact on human health based off of these characteristics, and this has a reduced impact on the environment based on these characteristics. So you could take that same approach to your service, where you say, the way we do cleaning is better for the health of the building occupants because of this, this, and this. And the way we do cleaning is better for the environment because of this, this, and this. And you can lay it out like that for them. And if they're interested in a certification, they go like, well, somebody could tell us that we're doing it, but I'm telling you that we're doing it. So that would be my advice. I don't know if that makes sense.
All right. That's 2:50 on the dot. That was the allotted time we got. Thank you all very much for attending, and thank you.